Welcome to the Blueprint. My name is Kal007.
And I'm Dexter Sosa Hussey.
We here to give you all the real. So we're going to get a little bit into it. I'm going to give y'all a little quick drop for myself. I'm a luxury brand manager, been out here for a long time, working with a lot of artists. I used to manage the Street Lords, work with the Source, Vibe, you name it. In the last 5-6 years, my partner and I have come together and put out a box set collection called The Blueprint to Conspiracy. And we wanted to kind of come out here and really get into this thing a little bit more. So that's a little bit about me. Let Sosa tell you a little bit about who he is.
Well, and just in case y'all didn't know, I'm Dexter Sosa Hussey. We started Black Mafia. We started hustling back in 1985. I'm a founding member of the Black Mafia family. It was a few other names before that, but yeah, I'm a founding member. Been together practically, with Meech and T, practically the whole ride. We had our separations and said in different places. I was in school and stuff like that, but for the most part, logistics is what I did. I'm the door to door. I was the Costco, of distribution. I was bringing it straight to your door, from the truck to the door. So, that's pretty much what that was my role. And what we're here for is...
Tell us about Rushtown.
Okay, wow, you want to
Because we know that was...
Okay.
See, a lot of people, we want to make things clear. A lot of people, because of the television show, we're going to go in chronological order for you guys. So...
Right, exactly.
When you guys started out back in the 80s, the name wasn't BMF, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was Rushtown Management. That's what we first started off at. We didn't stay at Rushtown Management long, but it was like the beginning of the beginning of the breakaway from the street hustle, from the street corner to getting a little bit more weight, getting a little bit more serious. Even though we were still, we were dealing with the same faction at that time. We hadn't moved away. And to make something clear, I wasn't actually working with the same people that I was working with Dude. So Dude got my job, Meech got my job, and I worked with Meech. And Meech worked with these other guys, even though it all came from the same people. But it was always this little faction there. I was a little older than Meech and them, so I kind of, and I was always private, so I stayed away.
How did you get to, I know that we may have spoke about this on other platforms, but tell the viewers, how did you first get introduced to me? So let's pretend like they don't know, because some people are a little slower than others. A lot of people do know the story. Right. A lot of people don't. So can you share with the viewers, how did this man come into your life, and how did you guys connect? What is his connection to your family?
Well, actually, I was introduced to him over the phone through my mother, which Meech was coming to the house all the time, and he was seeing my sister. And, she was a tomboy. At that time, she didn't have no boyfriend. She wasn't even engaged with no guys like that. So it was kind of like, wow, somebody she liked, or somebody that liked it, somebody that my family liked. It must be a special kind of dude. So, when I came.
So your mama put you on the phone.
So my mom, basically put
Shout out to
me
Mama Jean. She a super G.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all local in Detroit. Y'all know she ain't no joke.
Right, no question. But he, I was turned on to him by my sister. I was introduced to him by my sister, and then when I came home, bam, it took off from there.
You told me that your mom called, told you about your sister dating this guy from the neighborhood. You said she was somewhat of a tomboy, so you didn't even know if she was, into the guys like that. Tell me more in detail. Tell the viewers more in detail about the first time that you physically met him, not over the phone introduced, but being the big brother when, what was your first encounter like with him?
Actually, they were coming back from from dinner on a Sunday, because they usually go down here to this place called the Rooster Tail.
Okay.
And they used to go down to Rooster Tail, and every Sunday, not Rooster Tail, I'm sorry, Sinbad's, and right next door. It was a seafood joint. And I think it's still there today. But you go down there, and they used to go down there, and they come home, and that's where they were. I mean, and that's when I met Meech, and he was with my sister, and I seen him, when we got to talking. And then I put him to the side, it was like, yeah, I hear about your other things that you be doing too in the neighborhood. I was like, man, don't be bringing that, don't bring that around here, because I will, at that time I was not into it. We had family members that was into doing all kinds of,
You was concerned about your sister getting caught up with the wrong type of guy.
The drugs, period, because I wasn't into that. We wasn't into that. We wasn't raised in that shit, you know what I'm saying? So we didn't need it. We had.
What year was that?
That was 84, something like that, 84,
Okay.
85. So we wasn't raised in drugs. We sat down at the table and ate at a certain time. Your ass gonna be
You had
in
a
at the street
traditional
light.
Midwest family.
Yeah, street lights. Your ass gonna be in the house, or you gonna be close to the vicinity. Everybody sit down and we talk about our problems at the table and stuff like that. We make up our bed. We had chores. We didn't have none of that. Wasn't no girls and boys coming to the house. And I was the oldest, so wasn't no girls coming. The girl couldn't come over to the house until she got to use the bathroom.
So what was it that made you? What was it about him that made the exemption for your mom to call you? Because that's a big deal for your mom to call you. Your mom must have liked the guy.
Well, she
obviously
was a tomboy, so she.
I'm talking about your mom.
Yeah, but she didn't
for her
like
to endorse him.
But she was a tomboy. My sister, she didn't like boys.
Okay,
like that.
gotcha.
So she was always doing the tom. She'll fight him or something. Or
Now sisters play basketball, right?
Right.
Okay, so she was a little tough.
Yes, yes.
She was a tough fly girl.
Yeah, she wasn't with that. I had to beat some of their asses.
Okay.
So that kind of shit. So that's the way that was.
So you finally met him, and then how did that go after that first conversation? You're like, look, I ain't really trying to have all this around here.
Yeah, he was like,
How did
oh
he
man,
receive it?
You ain't got to worry about that. I respect your mom and your dad in them house. I'll never do no shit like that. And he didn't do it, but one day they went out to a Nita Baker concert, and I know he had the bag because I know he was working, So I knew he had the bag. And I know he didn't go home, but I know they was on their way out to the concert. So, and I had told my sister, I had told her not to be sure, don't leave none of that shit here at the house. Mm-hmm. So I know she told him to hide it because I know she did. So anyway, I went in there and found it in her drawer in her room and shit, and I held on to the bag.
She was hiding to work at the house?
Well, no, he was just going down and they ain't had time to put it. You wasn't gonna put it outside. This is 84, 85, and you ain't finna put the drugs outside, and all these crackheads, they know that this is because
How old was he at that time?
Meech was about what, 16?
Okay. And his sister's around the same age, 15, 16,
Yeah, she was
16?
about 15.
Okay.
Same age.
Wow.
So they was young. And then T was younger than them.
Wow.
So T was really young. He used to always just follow Meech around. We would drop him off at school, and he would just catch the bus and come right back.
So from what I'm hearing, it sounds like he became a part of the Hussey family. He spent a lot of time in your household.
Yeah.
So your dad was home, and he allowed that too?
Yeah, well, my dad was at work, but still, he liked Meech. My dad and them didn't really like people. He loved Meech from the start.
Wow.
Even the damn dog loved Meech. The nigga took my dog. You know what I'm saying?
What dog was that?
I had a pit bull. He came over there and ham-boned that nigga to death.
What was the dog name?
Killed his ass.
What was the dog
Magnum.
name? Magnum?
Man, the meanest dog around, dude. Yeah.
Meech had a way with him.
Meech came over there and stole my dog and everything, dog. Stole my mom and daddy. They love that nigga Lord more than they love me. He was spending the night over at the house, and I couldn't even have company with girls with him.
So how'd that make you feel, though?
Shit, how you think that made me feel?
That was like a double standard.
I was like, what the fuck is going on around here?
So do you think he was giving your mom and them some money or something?
No,
Like,
he
what
was just
happening?
a special dude. As like time went on, man, Meech, he got a smile that'll melt steel. He was just a special guy. I like Meech myself, man. We were like brothers, man. We still is even to this day.
So
That's
so not to cut you up, but so tell me, what was the introduction for you getting involved? Because you were in college at that time. You came home. Did you stop going to school? And tell me when you guys first started, obviously, we know that BMF did not start in Detroit. It didn't start in Detroit, and it definitely didn't start in the 80s. We'll get into that
started in the 90s
further
in
line.
St. Louis
So can
and all
you
that shit.
expand on that, please?
Well, what had happened, what introduced me to it was I had the bag. Once I got the bag, I found the bag while they was at the concert. I found a bag in the drawer, and it was something like $7,000, $6,000 in 50s. You know what I'm saying? So I took them. I didn't know what they were, but I took them. And then I went back to the arcade because I was trying to think of what I was going to do
What's
with
the
it.
arcade? Tell us what the arcade is.
It's around the corner. There's this place called Mr. Martini's that they used to have pool tables, billiards. You know, have billiards, video games, you know, candy, all kinds of hot dogs and shit like that, sausage and shit. They used
So
to
niggas
sell.
used to hustle over there?
So that's the hustle spot. You know, that's when niggas will come in and grab their stuff up, or they'll come in and get off the street for a minute, grab something to eat, bam, play a few games, talk, you know, network with a few people. At that time, we didn't have phones and beepers and stuff like that. Wasn't even no beepers.
Pay phones?
Yeah, it was just pay phones. That's all it was.
And the work that you got, was it
It
hard or soft?
No, it was hard. It was crack.
Okay, so that was like the
bagged
era
up.
of the crack. 'Cause that was the crack era.
And I didn't know that it was like, I didn't know the denomination. But the guy that was asking me, he frequently got with me, you know, I was always dealing with Meech and them. And he knew that on Sundays they was going to concerts. See, you know, I didn't know none of that. That's how, you know, I didn't know that they was going to concerts. But that's how, when Meech and them came back, and they see me sitting there, and I was sitting on the porch, and Talise was like, oh shit, she already knew what time it was. And he told her, I heard him on the side tell her to go in the house, get the bag. You know, go in the house, get the bag, and come on back out. You know, he was like, yeah, because I don't want no problems. I'm finna get the hell on out of here.
Right.
You know, so when she went in the house, the bag wasn't there. I heard her come back out, tell him, well, the bag ain't there. Yeah, he got it.
So what happened?
So she came around here and asked me for it, and I told her to tell him to come around here and get it. So he came around the corner, and we started talking.
So you just took his work, got rid of it, and dumped
he
it?
forfeited that when he walked in the house with it. That was a forfeiture, automatic.
So you took the man work. What you do with it?
I held on to it. I ended up selling it all. So what I did was I started slanging this shit when I was up there on the block. But, you know, he came and he was like, well, where to work at? I told him, I ain't got it. So he was like, what? But, you know, he looking at me, and I'm looking at him.
Because at this time, y'all kind of just getting cool. Y'all ain't really.
I kind of caught him with the bag in the house.
Right.
So, you know, you already, that's a violation. But I already knew that y'all was
So
going
y'all
to the
basically
concert.
stand outside your house,
Yeah,
like, what's up?
like
Where I'm gonna work at? And
this was
what
like
was your angle with taking and doing that?
Well, actually, I was trying to see how I was gonna address him about bringing this in the house, because it was gonna be a big ass hot mess. But the guys that I deal with, the guys that he dealt with, I know them. I grew up with them, and it's like, and I showed. I say, so y'all talking about this? And he's like, oh shit, nigga, you got the bag. And it's like, oh, you got everything. He's like, man, yeah, that's a 50. This. Let me give you this. So I started making money, and I sold it all out that day on a Sunday, because they don't usually work on Sundays. So I sold the whole damn bag on Sundays. And then that's when he came back home with him and my sister, and then they went looking for the bag. The bag wasn't there. I told him that I didn't have the bag. I told him I ain't got it. So me and him sitting there like an old spaghetti western and shit, facing each other down and shit, Clint Eastwood and Lee Van Cleef and shit. We sitting there looking at each other like, you know, with a bag. And then I finally said, well, I ain't got that. I ain't got the yayo, but I got this. And I pulled out the money. And, you know, me started smiling, that old that cheddar cheese smile, that Chester cheese, you know what I'm saying, smile he got. He started smiling. And he's like, hey, man, you want a job? I was like, hell yeah. That's the easy. If it's that easy, and, you know.
So what year was this? It's
like 84, 85, yep. So
okay. So at that time, they were not BMF.
No, we wasn't. We was Rush Town Management at that time. That's when I met them. They was Rush Town. And then we soon switched over, went over to the 50 Boys.
Okay, what year was that?
That was like 86, 85, 86.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right after that, we didn't say Rush Town long, 85, 86. We were right into motherfucking the 50 Boys. And that's where we started making our mark, and we needed more. You know, we had to get bigger. We had to get somebody that could really supply us, because the guy that was working for real, we wasn't really making the money. He wasn't going to allow us to make money per se. I brought it to Meech. I was like, you know, hey, my people, you know, that out in Inkster, you know, East Side, they doing it. This is how they do it. They give you the weight, and they give you a number on that, and you go out and you make your money.
You hustle yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I told dude to suggest that to my man that he was dealing with, and my man was like, "Well, man, I really can't do that. Y'all ain't gonna really make no money." And dude and them know that ain't true, because they see me, I got money. So eventually, 50 Boys faded.
So at that time their connect was that the guy ED?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, dude,
Okay.
Edric. Yeah, he was. You know, he was getting the work from some guys over there, some YBI guys over there. You know, he was Corey and them, and he was getting that shit from Reg and Corey and them at that time. Not the PA Reg, but another Reg. There was all young boys, so he was getting their work from them, and he wouldn't give us. He wouldn't give nobody. He wouldn't give us no weight. So, you know, eventually, we all branched out. We started looking for other avenues. You know, it faded out. He couldn't supply us no more. You know. And then,
So you go back to the 80s with them before they were BMF, when this thing was just...
Yeah. BMF didn't come along until the late 90s in
So
Gardena,
like back
California.
then, did he have a car? What was the status like? He was just a local drug dealer coming up at that time?
Yeah, who you talking about?
Meech, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, well, you know, it was just boys in the hood. We was just all kicking it. It was a fad out there, you know. It was, you know, you had different gangs, like they call it the 12th Street Boys, but they was really the Raphaels. You know, over on 12th Street, you know, and that dude Simon, or they call him Leighton. Leighton, he didn't come over there in these areas. He only messed with people over there that he thought he could bully, or young people. You know what I'm saying? He didn't really come over in that area because he already knew what was gonna happen. You know what would happen, and he already knew the people that's like right across the street. The place that they're depicting on BMF on the show that's not the real original reenactment. That, you know, that's just for show. I mean, you can see who's writing the storyline. How they know?
They don't.
Yeah, so
they have no clue.
You know, and then also they've been following the chronology out of the book, and you know, we deliberately, you know, I can say this now, we deliberately mix the timelines up because one, we know that y'all following us. You know, and two, we make sure that you don't get it right. You know what I'm saying? You don't steal nothing from us, which basically that whole opening first season was basically right from the blueprint.
So all of this happened in Ecorse because were they in your neighborhood or were they in an adjacent neighborhood next to you?
Well, Southwest Detroit is like you can walk across the alley and be in Southwest Detroit. You can walk up the street down there 4 blocks and you can be in River Rouge. You can walk back around the corner and be in Lincoln Park.
So you guys were hustling in other jurisdictions within blocks of your neighborhood.
Right, we could just walk out of there, but Detroit was the worst. So what we did, we stayed into the downriver, you know, communities. And we worked from there, but there was so many factories and at that time and so many people out there working that people would leave. I mean, you can give credit to somebody and go pick your check up, you know what I'm saying, every Thursday night, every Friday night.
Factory workers, the best kind of clientele to have.
We became, you know, we got hood rich, but we didn't really touch the first millions until we got to St. Louis and met.
Okay, hold up on that. We're gonna get to that. I want to talk about a quick story that you told me that was pretty fascinating. So there was an original Colombian or Cuban connect, I believe, that you guys had in the D back in the day. Yes, and you told me that story about how, you know, I'm gonna let you tell the story because the story is, you can't make this up now. Hollywood, you know, I know you guys try and we appreciate the accolades, but tell the story, man, because it was fascinating when you told me.
Oh, the one about Bolo?
Yes.
Yeah, Bolo. Yeah, we used to go. He's a Cuban guy from Southwest Detroit. He was one of the biggest drug dealers, you know, in that era at that time. And what had happened was he had got locked up in the Wayne County lockup, and somebody else got locked up too. They put him in there. They had the same name. They paid to let him go. He got out of there and got out 24 hours later. They knew they made a mistake and released the wrong guy, but it was an inside pay job. By that time, he was going to Mexico. We ended up going down to Mexico. We stayed like 65, 70 days down there.
Mexico?
Yeah, me and Meech. We was down in a place called Caborca.
What?
Yeah, so we went down there and stayed with them, and you know, they sent up, you know, we used to call it the Mexican brown. They sent up a lot of greens, but they sent up some brown weed too. They sent us maybe about 1,500 pounds of bud. A lot of people came up around there off that bud, you know what I'm saying? Because we really wasn't even, we gave that bud away to something like $500 a pound just to get it off. It was it was a freebie because of the other dealings that we came down there for and the things we was getting ready to do.
All right, so y'all went to Mexico. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
And y'all was down there for like 2 months, 3
Yeah,
months?
about 2.5 months, about 6.
Just you and dude?
Yeah, you know, we went down there. That's where after he got out of the county, Bolo, after he got out of the county, they snuck him out of the state, snuck him to Mexico. That's where we went down
Let
there
me
to
get
meet
into
him.
some more granular.
We took 100 grand down there to him.
Damn, so let me get a little bit more granular. So y'all got with this connect, Bolo. At that time, what was this is old stuff, so we can talk about it, but that time, what was the weight like, and what was the quantities and like the prices? Because I know people, always talk about the prices from the 80s, and it sounds like you were dealing with someone who was heavily cartel connected, so the work must have been like diamonds. What was it like at that time? What was the
Quantity
this
and
quantity and the scale? I'm trying to say basically, what was the level in which y'all was moving? It wasn't obviously thousands like y'all did later on.
No, it was that crystal. It was that crystal. You could cut it. We could put something on it or whatever. But one thing about us, we never touched the product. However it came, and we tried to give them the lowest prices. What we learned, we started breaking them down, selling O's, half O's, eighths, quarters, stuff like that, 3/4. We just was breaking them down and selling them like that until we got to a certain amount, to a certain level. When we got to the level, we started getting 5 keys, 6 keys, and that's when we really started playing hot potato. That's what we gave the name hot potato. We came up with that because, you get a potato or hot rock, you don't want that. You throw it to somebody else. That motherfucker hot, we don't want it. So it can't do no good in my hand, because we not street level players no more.
So at that
it ain't
time,
like we can't get down there, but this is how you grow, and then you leave room for somebody else. That way, everybody's eating and they can come up. As they come up, you come up.
So at that time, this is the 50 Boys, y'all getting the pure work.
Well, the 50 Boys was over with at that time, but people still remember that we were the 50 Boys, but the actual person that we were really associated with at that time, we had severed, went our separate ways due to the fact that, at that time, I feel that they wasn't looking at the big picture. The big picture was, you bring the people up, you making money off of us. You can't keep nickel and diming us. We can't stay on the street. You can't. If you on the street like that every day, eventually you're gonna get knocked. You can't stay there and you're not gonna be able to grow. We would take a key and just say we'll sell a key and you might make $1,500 on it.
What was the prices back then? That's what I'm trying to say. How much?
$13,500, $14,500, $15,500.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It didn't really, believe it or not, the prices didn't really change as much even when we would start back even when we became BMF. The prices were still around that marker, but in other places in the state, in the country, they were $10,000 more.
Yeah, 22, 24.
$8,000 more. So what we would do, we're not gonna make no more than $3 or $4 grand off of it, if that. So what we'll do is we'll give them room to bring somebody else up so they can sit back. So this way we could push more product because we got 10 tons over here in the truck waiting to go.
Right.
And my name on every one of them. So I'm trying to get.
But we're talking about the 80s now.
Yeah,
So at this time, when you guys, it was like, so if I was in the D and say I wanted 10 things, I could get them from you at that time back when y'all was with Bolo.
We might be able to do that. Say sometimes somebody might have
the range like maybe 3 to 5, 3 to 10.
Right. Well, they didn't come with a lot like that. 10 was like, man, you was like the kingpin around there at that time.
So y'all was getting a couple at a time, but they was super
we was getting
raw
like
work.
5, 6.
Okay.
That was kingpin
when you coming
numbers.
up, that's a lot though.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
As you know, but in Detroit, things don't last long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People get hot. Your name get out there. You get jealousy. You get a lot of people. So a lot of things, but So
y'all kind of transitioned from the 50 Boys to selling more weight because
selling ounces and quarters and eighths.
Okay.
And then we went from that to start selling weight.
Okay.
And we started making money, 500, 1,000, 1,500, 1,250 off a key. So we started doing keys. So we needed more weight, and that's what pushed us into the weight game because we playing hot potato. We don't have to go down there and break it down and stand on the corner now. So what we'll do is we'll get to somebody else that got somebody else to do that, and they can move bags or they got houses. Well, we don't care how you move it. I don't care about how you get rid of it. Only thing I know is you owe the tab.
So
Yeah, so
what
that's
you're
how that
saying is a
came.
little opposite of what the television show is showing right now. Shout out to Lil Meech
Shout out
and
nephew, Lil Da Vinci.
the other brothers
Yeah,
playing Da
the
Vinci.
brother,
Y'all
yeah.
doing a
Y'all
great,
doing a
great
great job.
job
Yeah.
for your acting.
Yes,
but
sir.
what we talking about right now is the context of, because we know Hollywood is always going to exploit things to a certain degree, because the way Hollywood has it,
Exaggerate.
you know, the way we've always,
Overly.
you know, from what I've seen and known and from being around, is that the organization later on, even though we're talking about the early days, they're portraying it as basically a boys in the hood shoot 'em up every day. You guys were fighting with 12th Street and this and that. And I don't ever remember you disclosing any of that kind of stuff to me about all that type of stuff.
In actuality, my man and them from 12th Street, they were called the Raphaels. They, you know, Pop and them, they didn't particularly know dude, Meech and them, but they also wasn't trying to meet him. And, you know, they was over there kicking it with my, you know, Meech was over there kicking with my sister, and they didn't like that, but they respected it because they respect my sister, they respect our family, because we family, and in the end, we all family over there. So he had a pass, but he couldn't go too far in there. He could, but he couldn't go in there and too far and be selling drugs, because that would have been a problem. That wasn't solved until I came home, and then we started introducing, and then that's when I started basically me being friends with all these people. It kind of brought everybody together.
You was just breaking it down to me about how you guys were getting the pure weight from he was Cuban, Colombian?
Yeah, he was Cuban.
He was Cuban.
Yeah, Bolo was Cuban.
Yeah, the Cubans and Colombians, they'll do it for you.
Yeah.
So you guys, it sounds like you guys were kind of moved from, you graduated from the 50 boys selling the 50s to something a little bit more on a higher weight scale, being more of a supplier to the local guys in the areas. Would that be like?
Right. That'd probably be closest. You could say that. What was really going on was, you know, we got away from the 50. It's just a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
You know, we had people that we would go in there and sit sacks in the same way that we were sacked up when we first came through. I was sacked up. They'd give you like a $7,500 sack, and you know we pushed that. And
what we say back then, a bomb.
yeah, and drop you $7,500 on there. You bring back, you know,
55.
yeah, something like that.
Like
whatever.
that.
That's what we wanted it to get to, but they didn't want to do that. They wanted to just keep paying you once a week. Every Friday, you get a fucking check. You know, $717, you know, playing the game, $700, $800, you know, that shit, $1,200, you know, and we selling tens of thousands of dollars and shit. But we was just having fun with it. We were naturals at it. We all were, you know, and
so the show, what the show is portraying is not accurate
nowhere near
in terms of context with
No.
the wars that were going on with
we never
the
did none of
12th
that.
Street guys and all that.
No.
So I'm gonna get into a couple other little quick things, and we're gonna segue away. But there was a time, and they've come out now, and I have knowledge that you have disclosed to me that there was a time when T got shot,
Yeah,
and Meech got shot.
yeah, in the neck,
So
in the
can you
shoulder.
tell us a little bit about that timeline? And was that a catalyst for them to leave the city?
No.
Or was that just something that happened along the way as you guys were growing?
Well, as we were growing, as we were getting bigger, when T got shot in the eye, he got shot in front of his baby's mama's house, Rhonda, over on 9th Street. He's 10th Street, I'm sorry, sitting in front of the house one night. But he had been seeing another girl from the neighborhood that another guy his name was Southwest T. He was everybody knew him because he was hustling, and they called him Southwest T. And he also was trying to kick it with the same little girl. So when the dude found that out, he felt like T was making money off his name and then trying to fuck with my woman. So.
Wow. So what year was that around?
Oh shit. That's when they had those black 190s. So that was like shit, 87, 86, 87, something like that, 86, 87. I think Meech got shot in 87 after that up at the Coney Island. Layton saw him up there and, you know, something happened at a bar at this place called the Inland Inn. Something that happened and his brother got killed. Layton's brother got killed, you know, and Layton got shot as well, you know, and after that he tried to blame the shooting on it was all because of Demetrius, and Demetrius didn't have nothing to do with that. As a matter of fact, his brother that got killed was kicking it with a girl that was motherfucking always starring. You know, they using her trying to use her one of her likenesses in the show. Her name's Yolanda. She started a lot of shit. She got a lot of people killed around her. She's got another guy killed, you know, previously before that guy down the street from me, right on 19th Street, named Joe Day, Keith Day's brother. Got him killed over some similar shit by another good friend of ours who just came home maybe about 4 years ago. He's doing good now. So, yeah, that was one of Meech's mans as well.
So what about T? When did T? So who got shot first? Was it T?
It was T first, and then Meech got shot. You know, two separate.
How much time between those two things that happened?
Maybe about a year and a half, maybe a summer. You know, and that's just the way things happen. You know, there was a lot of parties in the local bars around there, and you know, everybody was in there with you know, it was a golden time of hip hop. It was a golden time of drugs. You know, it was the new age. Crack just came on the scene. You know, you KRS-One, you know, you down there with, you know, shit, you know, Tribe Called Quest, you know, you
going down.
Yeah, you banging that, you know, you LL on the box, you know, Run DMC,
yeah,
you know, you got all these type this new hip hop age, and the big chains with Adidas,
Dookie ropes,
yeah, the Adidas
nugget bracelets with the nugget watch,
with the gazelles,
yeah,
you know, Fila, you know, Sergio Tacchini,
the Bally's,
you know,
Bally suits,
Bally's,
all that.
but, you know, when we wasn't wearing, you know, we didn't really wear a lot of jeans and stuff. But actually, Run DMC brought the Levi's and shit back in with the shell toes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? With the black leather jackets on, with the bosses on.
Nice.
They brought that out with the gazelles, with the big chain, the Adidas sign on. You know, so they brought all that out. We emulated that. We liked the sound that was coming out of New York. You know, Meech always loved music. You know, I grew up in music as well. My family, even to this day, they still be in the music world, the music industry. So
Meech used to break dance, from what I understand, right?
Yeah, he used to try, but you know, Meech was not a real coordinated athletic guy like that.
Okay.
That wasn't Meech's specialty. Meech's forte was was people. He knew how to bring people together. And he knew how, you know, he knew how to finesse that. He knew how to get, you know, people just take to him, and they was natural gamblers. Him and his brother both. When they got some dice in their hand, shit, they go to Las Vegas. They comp. I bet when he come home, they're gonna comp him because they legendary with these dice, and that's the reason. That was a big way that we got mixed in with a lot of other guys, you know. But initially, a lot of those guys that you meet, a lot of these things that you seen on the show, like the things that happened at St. Cecile. I was playing basketball that day. I was on Dog and them team. You know what I'm saying? I actually was on the dude named Bobby Thornton and them team. We had just played Dog and them. We had just beat them. But, you know, I had met Dog through my cousin, Antoine Jobert. You know what I'm saying? He was playing for Michigan at the time. He was real big up there because Frida was there at that time. So I had met, he had turned me on to a lot of the, you know, he was a big basketball player. So, Magic Johnson and them, LA Lakers was scouting him and everything. He was the farmer guy out there, USC. They was all coming here.
So you intersected a lot of, from what you told me previously, you had a little bit to do with intersecting of new relationships through
basketball,
and, you know, that whole culture being like the version of, for lack of a better description, the Rutgers type style basketball games
exactly.
in the D with the dope boys out, all the all the ladies is out, hair permed up.
That's
it's
what
a
we
scene.
did.
It was a vibe.
Yeah, that was there. Then like they have like on like when like the Pistons playing, you know, or in Chicago come to town, or certain teams come to town. We had this place called the fruit shop. I mean, the vegetable stand, and that was located on 6 Mile in Schaefer, and they had a big fruit stand there. And we used to go up in there, and all the basketball players and stuff that come to town, we'd be up in there gambling all night.
That was a gambling house.
Yeah, we'd be in the fruit, in vegetables there. Meech would be in there taking their ass. Meech and T and them be in there taking them. And I'd be in there laughing like a mouse. I told y'all they niggas was gonna get y'all. I told y'all they was gonna get you. But they loved us because we just young motherfuckers was getting money. They had their
how
own
old
stuff.
were y'all at this
I was
time?
like 22, 23, and Meech and them was like, T was about 16, 17, 18. Meech was about 19, 20. Because Meech was about 3,
What's
4
the age
years
difference between Meech and T?
about a year and a half, 2
Okay.
years maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's always 2 years under. So
The TV show is not portraying.
No.
We know they're not going to portray actual facts. So in actuality,
No.
for the viewers, when those two incidents happened, those were not the incidents that pushed them out of town.
no, what pushed us out of town was
Tell us what pushed you out of town, or what motivated you guys to go out of town, and then also what year that was with the timeline, because there's a lot of, we'll get into it more, but you know, based on the show, there's a lot of discrepancies with the timelines of what's being shown, because I have photos that you and your sister provided with him and your niece, and
Right.
other photos, like even with him getting shot,
right.
they have dates on them.
different timelines.
But on the television show, they're putting them in Atlanta,
right,
going against
getting shot. Yes.
yeah, the Miami boys, and they're fighting for because again, you guys kind of graduated from the
Street
corners
Yeah.
to selling weight.
What-
So once you sold the weight, you weren't checking in with somebody to say, hey, did you break that down? Did you step on it? What you bring back? You guys weren't really checking for that, were you?
No. This was what happened with that. What we really did was, we used to go and like once a month we would go out to Chicago and go shopping, and
Michigan Avenue?
yeah, on the Michigan Mile, and it was this place. I forget his name. I'm gonna think of the name in a minute, but he used to Marc Jacobs. They had a Marc Jacobs shop down there, and we used to go to the Marc Jacobs shop, and there was this guy in there from St. Louis that was running the Marc Jacobs shop. His name, he used to have on all his shit was clean, his jewelry and all that stuff. And it was Kenny. His name was Kenny. We used to call him the old man Kenny. So we met Kenny there, and Kenny, we wanted to do business with Kenny, and he was the man. We did our work, and he did his homework, but we had to come down to St. Louis to meet him. So me and Meech went down to St. Louis and met him. That's when he introduced us to Cuffy, because Cuffy and them had a barbershop next door to the liquor store.
So what year was this?
This was 89. This was 90.
So was St. Louis one of the first cities you guys expanded to?
That was the first city
when you
we
guys
went
kind of
to.
left the D?
When we left the D. But we went before that, the incident that happened at the bar that I was telling you, dude, they went down to Atlanta, right? They said, we're going to take a trip. We're going down to Atlanta. We're going down to Florida. We try to see if we can do something down there and gonna get something going. I told them, don't go. I told them, my man is fucked up. My man is over there, man. Y'all don't handle this. It's going to come back and hunt you. And that's, you know, when he didn't do that, soon after, that's when Meech got shot, you know what I'm saying? And then after that, we left the state.
What year was this about?
That was the end of the 80s.
Okay.
89, like that, in the 90s.
So we going into the 90s.
Yeah, then 90, we went into St. Louis.
So St. Louis was the first city you guys kind of tapped in outside of the D?
Well, that's the first city we worked in. We
Okay.
started working in. We started getting work. And, you know, me, I'm logistics. I'm the driver. You know, I at that time, there was no TW.
Let's clarify a little something, though, because
Yeah.
there's a little bit more than driving.
Yeah, well,
You
know.
had to
Yeah,
deliver goods.
planes, trains,
You had to
automobiles.
pick money up.
Yeah,
You had to deal with all types of
yeah,
individuals that you really didn't know.
right.
You could have
At
chopped
all-
your head off at
all
any
times.
time.
At first, it wasn't really like that. But we say we get like 3 or 4 keys, and I got a story. one guy from the neighborhood, he had 5 keys in the bag. He was supposed to, this was before the TSA and all that shit. It was just curbside checking. Anyway, he had 5 keys. He got scared, said the people was following him, dropped the shit in the damn garbage can in the fucking airport. I made him take me back out there. I bought a ticket first, made him take me back out there, went and grabbed the motherfucker, jumped on the plane with the 5 keys, real story.
Damn.
But that's what I did. I was always finding different ways to move the bag. And even when I was going on the west side or east side to pick up from the people that we met through me playing basketball and different things like that, and I was always the one to go pick up the bag. You got to remember something. Even to this day, I don't even know, but them boys never had a driver's license. They never had space shuttles. They never had SpaceX mobiles. Ain't none of them never had a driver's license. Not none of them. And that's gonna be part of the next books and stuff that we're gonna come out. Because we have all the information. But neither one of these guys never had a driver's license in their life.
Damn.
Not one of them.
Y'all heard it first here. Blueprint.